Hi, I'm Josh.
This is Antoine.
And this is Pocky for Two. Alright, Antoine, tell them what we're talking about today.
Today we are going to tell you about a special film. A film that... Shut up, special. A film that embodies everything about the human spirit, the triumph, suffering. It branches. It's called The Room. It's an awesome film. I love it. He hates it. And we're going to tell you all about it.
Well, before we get into what I thought about The Room, we should probably tell everybody what The Room is. What year did this movie come out?
Was it? I think 2003. I think 02 or 3 1. It's almost 10 years old. I put it that way. I think it was 2003. 2003. I first discovered it when April Fools on Adult Swim. And I was like, oh, do I have the right channel? This is like a Cinemax movie on Adult Swim. Okay, this is...
To tell you what this movie looks like, we'll get into what it sounds like later. But basically, this movie was originally a play written by the director / main actor / producer
/ genius Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau. He wrote it as a play by him, which he then adapted into a 500-page book.
Now that I did not know
that no one would publish.
And
then he decided to make a film that he would produce on his own so that no one could control the content and it could be the way he wanted it to be. So that's what this movie is. He describes it as a black comedy, though the only thing funny in it to me...
Why gotta be black comedy?
Not like a black comedy.
Why gotta be black?
He describes it as a black comedy, as in dark comedy. And the only thing funny in the film to me is things that aren't supposed to be funny. Unless, of course, you're right that Tommy Wiseau is a genius, and then we'll get to that in a minute. So let's just go into it. What's wrong with this film? I have a lot to say. The film is wrong with the film.
The film is wrong with...
Here's what I mean. Just for starters, because there's so much I would like to talk about when it comes to this movie. But for starters, nothing connects. There's very few things in this movie that connect. There's lots of things that are brought up and then never brought up again. For example, there's one scene where the main girl character's mother comes in and says, I got the test results today. I definitely have breast cancer. Never mentioned again, never talked about again.
And the way it was just like a nonchalant, like, oh, no, oh, by the way, I have breast cancer.
Yeah.
But, oh, did you hear what he said about me? That man.
Yeah, the dialogue in this movie has a lot of issues. And apparently, I was reading on Wikipedia, and apparently lots of the dialogue was rewritten. And prior to actual filming, the script was almost unreadable. And there's just not a lot of, to kind of get away for a second from what I was talking about, there's just not a lot of room to breathe in the script. Characters talk over each other a lot. The main scene that I can think of is the scene where Johnny, the main character, goes to pick up flowers. And he goes in, and first of all, the lady at the shop, doesn't recognize that it's him. He says, oh, I need, a dozen roses. Oh, Johnny, I didn't recognize you. But before she can get, I didn't recognize you, he goes, thank you, and hands her money. And then she tries to say something else, and he starts talking to the cat, and he never lets her get a word in edgewise, and then he just leaves. He just leaves. The scene I didn't need.
He had to get home to his woman.
He could have easily gone in and said, I'll take a dozen roses.
He didn't have time for it.
Pay for them. No. But he wasted more time. There's so much in this movie that... why did you shoot that? I don't need this in my life. Okay, so that one scene, the dialogue in the movie is horrendous from start to finish, but that one scene, I think, kind of isolated. Then the scene that I hated the most, and that I have the most to say about, at one point, Jen, the main character girl, decides to say that Tommy, that's his real name, Which, by the way, they have a problem getting correct in the movie too, apparently.
Yes.
Anyway, says that Johnny has been beating her.
Yes.
She claims that he got drunk and that he hit her. By the way, she got him drunk, even though he said, no, I don't drink, like a million times. So she gets him drunk, and then she goes around telling people that he hit her.
Yeah, she did.
Which, okay, it was cheesy and lame anyway, but then she's sitting with one of her best friends, Michelle, and she says, well, Tommy, dang it, I did it again.
Reenact next time.
Johnny got drunk last night, and he hit me.
What? He hit you?
He did.
Oh my God.
I don't think I'm going to marry him anymore.
What? You're not gonna get married? What is wrong with you? Oh my God, Lisa, your point of view is so different from mine.
That's literally what happened. Okay, so characters in this movie, unbelievable. Okay, so the first thing she says is, Johnny hit me. There was a decent reaction there. If they'd have left it at that, if they'd have left it at her reaction to Johnny hitting her, then I would be okay. But she freaks out this much about Johnny hitting her. When you compare it to the this much she freaks out because Jen is not going to marry him anymore.
Her name is Lisa, not Jen.
Jen? Where did I get Jen from?
I don't know.
Her reaction is this big to the idea that Tom... blah, 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 blah. Alright. Her reaction is this big to the fact that Johnny hit her. And it's this big to the fact that she doesn't want to get married to Johnny anymore. Which doesn't make any sense. Because she's like, oh no, he hit you, that's terrible. Why would he do that? What? You're not going to marry him? How is that believable dialogue? And it just goes on. It goes on. That scene goes on and on and on, talking about all the stupid reasons. Like, I can't believe you're not marrying him. I was really excited for your wedding. Why? He hit her. We just talked about it.
Well, technically, he did not hit. He did not hit her.
We know that, but she didn't know that. Baffles me that you could write a movie where this character is more upset that, like, oh, you're not getting married to the man that I think hit you and I just yelled at you 2 minutes ago, but now I seem to have forgotten about it because I was so excited about your wedding.
I'm going to tell you why, because that scene was a critique on these marriages, like, oh, I'm going to marry this man because he takes care of me, and it was the critique on that, and that's why I say he is a genius.
I will agree that perhaps what Tommy Wiseau meant to do
he hit it right on the mark.
Is what you're talking about.
He hit that right on the mark.
This is my problem with the movie as a whole. I saw everything that he was trying to do. And I will agree with what you're saying. I felt like he was trying to do that. But he either does not enough or too much. Everything in this movie to me felt like either it wasn't enough or it was too much.
The whole movie was too much. Come on.
Well, the whole movie is too much. But okay, for the character of Denny, who upon further reading, we find out is mentally retarded, which is why he doesn't understand most things.
Hold on, I just thought he was just one of those socially awkward guys.
No, Tommy Wiseau says that he is written mentally retarded.
Well, okay. That explains a lot about Denny.
Okay. Anyway, so Denny is this guy who lives in the same apartment building. He's like their surrogate son. Johnny has kind of sort of adopted him, paying for college tuition, blah, blah, blah. But we don't get any of his backstory at all, other than Tommy just kind of... Well, the stuff I just told you is what we learn about him in the movie.
Yes.
And he's a huge part, but we don't see that. And that's where I'm talking like there's not enough. And then there's other scenes where it's just too much. There was the one scene... the scene that got me was the three guys were sitting in the living room, Peter and Johnny and Mark, his best friend, which we'll get to the problem with that in a minute. But they're sitting in the living room, and Mark, I think it's Mark, he said something like, women, they're either too smart or too stupid or they're evil. Like, the dialogue was just, it was like, I didn't know when he was going to stop. Like, he might as well have just been, women, they're too smart and too stupid or too evil or too girly, or they have good hair, or they smell good. And it's like, just shut up. Like, I don't need more dialogue from you now. Like, you can stop talking. And I feel like that might just be Tommy Wiseau's problem. I feel like in real life, he probably just says, like, a little too much. Like, okay, you've said just enough. Stop talking to me now. But then he says one more sentence. And I feel like that comes through all of the dialogue. Every character feels like it was written by what I feel like he's writing. Does that make sense?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
All right, now.
The best friend thing.
And I will tell you why I think that he said it so much. Now, upon the further analysis of this film, I do believe it was meant to the betrayal aspect of it. It was they kept harping best friend, his best friend. That was ultimate betrayal. He stole his beloved. Come on. If your best friend did that to you, you would be hurt. Because you'd be like, my best friend. You wouldn't say so-and-so. You would say, oh, he was my best friend. So, honestly, I think that's how.
I want to agree with you.
You have to agree. There's no want to
agree. Again, I think it comes back to, I see what he was meaning to do, but I feel like the execution thereof
now that's why I
is bad. Because
I don't argue with that because I do think execution
he
was
says
a big issue.
The words best friend so many times. In fact, in the first time we ever hear about Mark, I'm pretty sure we hear that he's his best friend 3 times. And then when Mark comes over to do his thing with Lisa, he says at least twice, I can't do this, he's my best friend. Then he proceeds to have sex with her. And then as soon as they're done, he goes, oh, I can't believe I did that. He's my best friend. What have you done to me? And then as the movie progresses, you're my best friend. I'm your best friend. You're my best friend. I'm your best friend. And at the end, as if we didn't know it already, the last time I remember hearing it is Johnny going, how could you do that? Didn't you know he was my best friend? No, you've only told me 1,000,000 times.
Just in case you didn't get it. Just in case you didn't get it.
I get everything though, and there's so much of this movie where this movie feels like it has to explain itself to me. For example, Johnny taps the phone lines in his house, and I understand why. His wife is trifling, and I understand. Or is almost, excuse me, his future wife. They don't ever use the word fiance.
They don't.
His future wife. She's trifling, I understand. And
why she gotta be all trifling and skeezy? Why she gotta be all...
You saw this movie.
I know, but I mean, okay, I was gonna say this. I'm gonna take up for Lisa. Okay, granted, she did some scandalous things, but I think that as a flawed character and a flawed person, she wanted a way out. Who has not wanted a way out of a situation? And she chose that as a vehicle to, rebel. And, I feel sorry for her. I kind of feel that she was just trapped, and all she wanted was to be loved. And yet you call this woman skeezer, hooker, all kind of...
I didn't say any of those words.
Whatever you said.
Literally none of those words.
Hoochie, harlot, whatever she is.
More words I didn't say.
He said all that. But, how dare we call her that? All she wanted was love.
So Johnny taps the phone lines. In a normal movie, in a movie nowadays, what we would see would be the action of Johnny tapping the phone lines.
And we would infer that, oh, he is going to...
Yes, in fact, they make it so much easier for us in this movie because he literally tapes a tape recorder to everything.
And my favorite line, I'll show them, I'll record everything.
And he announces to us his plan prior to enacting it, which we don't need.
It's more drama.
It's not. It's
more drama.
It's the movie having to explain to us what's going on. Which, considering I stopped paying attention several times in this movie, it's kind of good that it reminds me of what's going on.
Because you get so distracted with all the silliness.
All the terribleness.
Terrible, oh gosh. And it also, like you said, things, they give you something to just forget about it. The Chris R. incident. Let's talk about that for a second.
Chris R.
Remember when, the whole, where's my money, Denny? You don't have 5 flipping minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God, Pocky. My Pocky fell. He just comes up there, does altercation. Mark and Johnny, they come to the rescue. They're like, oh, we're going to take him to the police station. Now, in that time, there was a little scene where Danny and Lisa, she had a little dramatic breakdown. Like, we got our drugs in here, and all that stuff. They come back, not even 2 minutes, as if the police station is right across the street from them. It's too high.
Anyway, so this big altercation happens with a drug dealer. And my favorite part is, don't you know he's a bad guy? Because he's wearing a black wife beater and a black beanie, that makes him a bad guy. I mean, look at the main character of this movie. He's got long, greasy black hair. Like, he looks like a bad guy.
He had a gun.
He had a gun. You know what?
He had a gun.
So does Johnny, which we find out at the end of the movie.
That was the gun he kept from Chris R. Bam.
Okay. So yeah, that scene is weird. And honestly, we could sit here and we could talk about bad scenes all day long because there's so
many of them.
So many.
I think, and I said it before, but I think that this man, Tommy Wiseau, is a genius. And if you are watching this by some miracle or just random coincidence, you come across this, you are a genius, Tommy Wiseau, because the fact that this movie is horrible, it is horrible, but it's so, I can't even, okay. But it's just bad, but we are still talking about it. We are making shows about it, and people still watching. They show it in theaters. To this day, man's a genius.
I hate it. I hate your face.
So, the point of this film, I think it's about understanding life. Now, I've seen this quite a few times, and it just recently dawned on me, because it was a line. He was like, "You're tearing me apart, Lisa. Do you understand life?" And I really think that that's what he was trying to get at, understanding life. How many of us do understand life? You know, how many of us do we actually understand it? And that's the thing he was trying to get at. That was the gist of the movie, but again, he just didn't execute it well. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that, understanding life.
If there is a point to this movie, it is horrendously lost in translation.
I got it.
Everything.
If I can figure it out, surely you can figure it out, Josh.
Everything, I really believe, everything this movie tries to do, it makes a valiant effort, but it fails. They try to give us depth between Johnny and Liz. It fails.
Lisa.
What is this? I can't even remember their names.
Her name is Lisa.
They try to give us depth between Johnny and Lisa. It fails. They try to give us depth between Lisa and Mark. It fails. They try to give us depth between Denny and everyone, and it fails.
Because there wasn't enough Denny. We needed his backstory. We really needed some more
Which is proving my point
Denny.
more. The movie either does way too much or not enough. And because of that, I feel like any point that Tommy might have had, and I meant to say Tommy that time as in Tommy the director, not Tommy the actor. No, you know the same. You know,
well, he is. You know.
I meant to say Tommy. I wanted you to know I didn't mess up that time. I think that everything he tries to do just fails miserably, and it's lost. And I really, on top of all that, I see this as the director / writer / main actor / everything that he is in this movie is trying to put out something, and he thinks he's the junk, and
I give him kudos for actually going out there and doing it your way, and for saying, "Screw you! I'm making the movie I want to make. You go, Tommy Wiseau. You go out there and pursue your American dream. You get props for that." I say yes. And while he thinks this film was horrible, I think okay. Again, I do think it's horrible, but I think that underneath it is tragically beautiful. Lisa, again, is a tragically beautiful person. Even Tommy Wiseau is a tragic. Okay, I can't say that. Yeah, it. Okay, I can't say anything else, but I do think that it's a. I think it's a gem. I think this would be a new American classic one day.
It's.
I'm sorry. Okay.
The movie's really bad. Action is this big to the idea that Tom. All right.
Okay.
Johnny, Lisa, Michelle. I'm gonna get these names.